Drought has fallen on the land, the earth we till has turned to sand. Nor you, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs.
Today, in the United States, by the simple act of feeding ourselves, we unknowingly participate in the largest experiment ever conducted on human beings.
You, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs. Give us today our daily bread, unless it's used for gas instead. Nor you, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs. Tater big or tater small, grown at home will feed us all. You, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs. I sent a letter to the fish, no PBCs is what we wish. Nor you, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs.
Done a variety of things. I've been a midwife and an organic farmer, worked with therapists and stuff like that. And I've always been interested in whole, healthy foods. Organic foods. I've eaten them since my 20s. And so about 8 years ago, I started hearing about genetically engineered ingredients in foods. And like a lot of other people, I just found out that it wasn't. And I started to investigate more, and I got increasingly concerned about the fact that there had never been any human study. So I studied more, learned more, actually got depressed in 2010, the fall of 2010. And then in the January 20th of 2011, I had an epiphany that since the government was not getting this labeling for us, even though 90% of all the population, every time there's a poll, 90% plus wants labeling of genetically engineered foods, the government wasn't doing this for us, either on a state or a federal level, even though they had been attempted many, many times. Our agencies weren't protecting us and were being run by folks in a revolving door sort of thing with the same people who were making these things and making money off of them. And I realized that morning that it was about the people, that it was time for the people to invoke the right of in California to stand up and get a ballot initiative for the 2012 election. And so I made it my job and my priority in life, and I've devoted 2 full-time jobs worth every day since then to get this on the ballot no matter what. So I took about 6 weeks. I learned how to do an initiative. I developed a strategy and a plan, which included eventually bringing on professionals because we need them. And I literally took to the road. So I got in my 98 Camry with 100 or 200 and something thousand miles on it. And I started in the LA area. I started meeting folks in coffee shops and at farms and in libraries and in people's homes. And I started spreading the news about this. And people started to go, what a great idea. Yeah, this can work, this can happen. And they started saying, I'll organize my community, I'll organize my community. And they started doing that. And pretty soon, Southern California seemed like it was kind of on its way. So then I pointed my eyes north and got an organization called the Institute of Responsible Technology to help me out, and advertised that I was going to be running around the state doing these meetings. And they helped me, and I had meeting after meeting after meeting up here in Northern California. And now we've got over 130 people that are leading their communities around the state. So before Signature Gathering, those communities were involved in doing tabling events, reaching out, finding others of a like mind that wanted to join us. They were showing films, they were doing this and that. And then our eyes turned to Signature Gathering. Okay, now let me back up a little bit here. In June of last year, I got contacted by David Bronner from Dr. Bronner's Magical Soaps, great company. And he asked, he said that he had an interest, he and some other organizations. So they did some studies and they did some focus groups, and they found out that this had an amazingly positive, chance of winning. So they decided to move forward. So behind the scenes, when I'm running around all over the state, there are these people in the background, and they were writing this initiative. And it was an international team of people from the UK. They were experts on genetically engineered foods. They were experts on policy. They were lawyers. There were people in the food industry involved, consumer groups. All sorts of people contributed to this. And it was put before farmers, One of the people on the steering committee is one of the main farmers in this world. We've also got some main farming groups involved with us. So this is really focused on small and medium farmers, small and medium producers, to protect them. So they crafted this law, which is what you do in California to get a ballot initiative. Then you hand it into the state. They have it for a month, 2 months, something like that. They check it, they do this, and then they say, okay, go for it. We got it back with our title and summary, and then beginning of February something, I can't remember the exact date now, it's been such a blur, we began gathering signatures. And in a little over 2 months, it's on April 22nd, we stopped. And we have, if not, we don't have the full count because today is April 27th, but we will by Monday. And we're either over 1 million or very close to 1 million. So when I first started this, I was very, very clear that this could work, as were the people on the ground. But every person I contacted, barring one organization, which was the Organic Consumer Association, all of them, and they're all on board now, said no. All of them said this is not a good idea. All of them were very afraid. All of them said this is far too costly. Ballot initiatives never work. That you could, I mean, all sorts of things, that you would hurt the movement. What were the other things that I was being told? All sorts of stuff. Very few people wanted to get involved. None of them would call me back, or hardly any of them would call me back. The Organic Consumer Association was the only group that helped me advertise this. But interestingly enough, once they started seeing how the people wanted this, and they watched us grow, and then David was seeing that, so he started that. Then they started talking amongst themselves, and they started changing their minds. So it's not always easy. And I used to have the belief system that if something is difficult, that maybe it's not the path to take. And I have now changed that if you're meeting resistance, it's probably exactly where you need to be. Since March, I've been on the road, basically. It's now March of 2011. I've been on the road, and that's April of 2012. And I kind of divide my time between the North and the South. I do everything I can to support the leaders that came forward in their communities. So I'm behind the scenes trying to help them create materials, answer their questions, do all sorts of stuff, and then also to show up in their communities when they want me to speak, because a lot of times when I go to speak, it kind of rouses the rabble and they get all committed again. So that's basically what I've been doing. So I've been traveling to small towns in Humboldt County. I've been traveling to San Diego. I've been traveling to Mammoth or Dobbins or Quincy. Basically, my motto is if 2 or more will gather, I'll be there. And it's worked. This is how this movement has grown. It's because of my traveling and people willing to set up the meetings for me, and then us getting there and then amassing the folks, and then those people going out and spreading the word even more. So it's been an amazing adventure. I've met amazing people all over the state. It's been truly wonderful. And being able to visit places I hadn't visited in decades. What I'm finding while I'm traveling around the state is, and the reason that people are willing to work on this is because they are outraged at the fact that our government and the agencies are not protecting them, not protecting their right to know what's in their food. They are outraged that corporate considerations and desires are being considered over our right to know. Because you think about it, the only way that this is happening, according to many people, is because they're not letting us know what's in our food. Many of them, and I believe they themselves believe, that once these things are labeled, that people aren't going to want to buy them. Okay. Now, I don't personally know, and that's not necessarily what this initiative is about, but their fear and their ability, their desire to spend so much money to defeat this tells me that they're afraid. Because if they didn't think that something was going to change, they wouldn't be sinking so much money into it. So that's the basic thing. It's a sense of justice. People are outraged at the fact that their government is not protecting them, and that these corporations are being allowed to continue to make a profit on something, and by hiding from us what we're buying from them, something that hasn't been tested on humans, is causing all sorts of havoc in the environment. There are reports that show that the ag biotech business has spent $500 million in lobbying in the past 10 years. So we've got a person who worked on the Flavor Savor tomato. Her name is Belinda Martineau. She's a genetic engineer, and she worked for Calgene. And I was on a panel with her in Sacramento, and she is pro-GMO because she's a genetic engineer, but she is also rabidly pro-labeling. She's very, very consistent in her message that these should be labeled. And she's even said that she will be a spokesperson for the campaign. She works at Davis. She's a professor at UC Davis. We have Ignacio Chapella. You know, he's busy doing a lot of his own stuff, but he's supportive. Dr. Don Huber, also, he's the person who, the toxicologist or the epidemiologist, I don't know what but he's a he's an incredibly world-renowned scientist, and he's the one that discovered the new pathogen in genetically engineered crops that are causing the crop collapse back east, and that feels, and a lot of reports from farmers about pigs having up to 40% miscarriages, empty bags being born just full of water with no and deformities, and he believes it's due to this pathogen. And so he discovered this. He wasn't on a mission. He was called in to try and discover what was going on with all this crop collapse. And they discovered this electron microscope size bug that had never been found by any scientific folks before. And he was so alarmed that he wrote Tom Vilsack, who's the head of the USDA, a letter saying, you know, warning, you know, we found this, we don't know what it is, we need more studies, please do not deregulate the genetically engineered alfalfa, which they then went ahead and did on February 3rd of last year, 1 week after I had my epiphany. No, it was 2 weeks after. The first one was the it was January 27th. So I had my epiphany on January 20th. January 27th was the alfalfa. February 3rd was the sugar beets, and then February 10th, so boom, 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 in those weeks, they deregulated biodiesel, a new form of biodiesel corn, genetically engineered biodiesel corn. So it's amping up. They are really amping up their efforts to get these crops out there. So these days, when you shop at a traditional grocery store, if you shop in the middle aisles, what you see are very pretty. I don't find them pretty, but you know, obviously some people do because they've been market tested. Brightly colored, looking nothing like food items. They're boxes with pretty staged pictures on them, and they contain all sorts of stuff in the processing. So there's a tremendous amount of high fructose corn syrup out there, xanthan gum, soy lecithin, maltodextrin, vitamin C, vinegar. The vinegars are now made with corn, ascorbic acid. All sorts of these micro-ingredients and these things in the processed food are all made from the genetically engineered corn. So it's not just the full food like the corn, the soy, the cotton, the canola, the sugar beets, the alfalfa, and there's some papaya, some zucchini, and some crookneck squash. But it's all these little things, and that's where the bulk of the stuff is in those things that they use to process the foods. So if you shop in the outer aisles and you do your own cooking, you're still pretty safe if you don't want to eat genetically engineered foods. And the beauty of this initiative is that with labeling, the people who do want to eat genetically engineered foods will be able to find them even better.
A drought has fallen on the land, the earth we till has turned to sand. Nor you, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs.
You've been talking to me about this GMO food, and I want to learn more about it, so I really appreciate it. Maybe we should just look at some of the products in my pantry and see
Great
what
idea.
I've got.
Let's do that.
I mean, I
Let's
try to buy
check
healthy
it out.
food. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Let's just grab
Right
something
in
from
here.
the cupboard. Yeah.
All right, let's check it out. How about macaroni and cheese?
Oh yeah, the
There you
grandkids
go.
like this because they're really picky eaters. So, wow, I can't even read it on the ingredients. Do you have a? Oh, I got a magnifying glass here somewhere. Wow. Okay, it's got semolina wheat flour.
Okay,
Is that okay?
that's okay.
Semolina wheat flour is okay. Okay. How about whey?
Oh, whey. Well, I have this list here, Annie, and This has invisible genetically modified ingredients. So there's all kinds of ingredients in food, and especially packaged food, that we don't know what's in there because it's not required to be labeled if it's genetically engineered.
And whey is on that list.
And so I have this list of invisible GM, genetically modified ingredients. So look at this list.
Oh, I see.
It's huge.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. So, you know, I've got to check it out. So
I had no
I'm looking
idea
down
there was
here,
so much.
And luckily the list is alphabetized. So
That helps.
guess what?
Uh-oh.
Look what's on there.
Whey.
Whey is on there.
And
So
whey powder also.
so it means it's very possible that the whey in here is genetically engineered because this isn't an organic box.
That's right.
of
But we have no
food.
way to know for sure because it doesn't say.
We can't know for sure. We just have to look at this list and make a guess.
Oh boy, and I'm giving this to the grandkids, so let's see. We've got non-fat milk.
Okay, hold on. So, so milk is on here, especially milk powder.
Oh,
and
that's probably milk powder
it's
because
probably
it's
milk
dry.
powder, and so it's probably genetically engineered.
Wow, milk.
Contains genetic engineered ingredients.
I had
yeah.
no idea milk. Wow. Rice flour?
Rice flour is so far is okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Purified sea salt? That's
Well, salt is going to be okay.
okay. Wheat starch.
Okay, wheat, starch. It's not on the list, so far wheat hasn't been genetically engineered for the market yet, although it has been genetically engineered.
It has.
It has,
Oh my
yes.
God. What about cheddar?
I just tell you that there are test plots of genetically engineered wheat in the wheat belt, and they are not required to disclose where they are.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
oftentimes those test plots are right near organically grown wheat, and wheat is wind pollinated, so the farmers
no.
are not happy about that.
I bet.
The organic farmers.
So
yeah.
their crops are getting contaminated then from
Well,
the...
it's possible. The FDA and the Agriculture Department are not requiring them to disclose where they're doing test plots. Yeah.
Okay, cheddar cheese.
Okay, well, again, that's a
milk
comes
product.
from milk, so it's possible it has genetically engineered ingredients in it.
Okay. Soybean oil, I'm afraid to ask.
Woo! If soy is not organic, the chances are that it is a genetically engineered soy, because
Wow.
on my list here, 94% of the soy that's grown in this country is genetically engineered.
94%?
Yeah.
Okay, get rid of that one. See what else we got. Doesn't feel good.
Okay. Let's see what else we have.
Oh,
in
that
here.
one's got to be good. 100%
Oh.
pure cornstarch.
100%
pure.
pure, huh?
What could be in this?
What could be in that? Well, what could be in that is corn. And I
Yeah.
want to tell you that, first of all, cornstarch is on the list here as probably a genetically engineered ingredient. And if you look at this, it's one of the crops that is the major part that's grown in this country is genetically engineered.
88% it says.
So 88% of corn.
It's probably genetically modified or engineered.
If it's not organic, chances are, but we don't know for sure because no labels are required
Right.
for genetic engineering.
But it says pure.
It does say pure. It's
what is-
corn.
what
It's
is-
purely
it's pure corn.
It's pure
It
corn, but
doesn't
is
mean
it-
it's pure corn.
Is that corn pure? Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh, here you go. How about your long grain wild rice?
Okay.
Let's check
This
that
should be
out.
healthy, I would think.
Well, let's see what's in there. Can you read it?
Let's see. It's hard to read.
How about?
Do you have a bigger magnifier?
Yeah, here it is.
Oh, that'll
There you
help.
go. Sometimes you
No.
need that to see what the ingredients
Oh,
are.
that helps, yeah. Well,
And
you
if
can
you
take this
don't-
to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Enriched parboiled rice.
Okay, rice is not on the list, so
Oh, that's
it
good.
should be okay.
Rice. Orzo? I'm not sure what
That's
orzo is
that's
really.
a form of wheat.
Oh, that's right. It's
yeah,
kind of
so,
a noodle.
so that's
thing.
okay.
Okay. Onions, spinach, celery. Oh, that's some kind of dried vegetables, I guess. Those are okay, I guess. Sugar.
Okay, sugar. This is a really important one to know about.
Oh.
Very important, because unless sugar is specified as 100% cane sugar, or it's some other type of like coconut sugar or date sugar, if it doesn't say 100% cane, it's probably mixed with beet sugar. And unfortunately, the majority of the beet sugar that's grown in this country is genetically modified.
Sugar,
Yeah, so there's sugar
Wow.
beets. Sugar beets are a certain kind of beet. They're
Right.
grown for the sugar, and look at this.
Sugar beet, 95%. If the ingredient does not say pure cane sugar, yeah, or other specific, they probably contain genetically modified sugar beets. Wow.
Yeah. So if it just says sugar,
It just
that
says sugar.
doesn't tell you really enough information about it. And
Okay.
again, it's not labeled, so there's no way to know.
What about autolyzed yeast extract? Yeast extracts.
Yeah, good question, and it's not on the list, so maybe it's not genetically engineered.
Sunflower oil,
That's okay.
natural flavors, onion powder.
Wait a minute, natural flavors. Now,
Natural flavors are bad.
well, there's no way to know what they mean by natural flavors. There is no actual definition of natural flavors, so we don't know what that is. Could be
Yeah, I
almost
see what
anything.
I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
just because it says natural.
Yeah, you would assume it's good, but you just
Like pure.
We don't know exactly.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to check this one too, because it's got corn, soy, and
Corn.
wheat protein, and that's bad. You've already
Well, it's
told
got.
me.
Well, it's got. I mean, the point is that it could be genetically engineered, and you know,
Right.
you want to have a choice.
Right.
You
So
want to know what it is and make your choice about what you want to eat and what you want to feed your grandkids.
right.
Yeah. So,
Well, how about my canola oil?
hey, let's check this
100%
out.
pure oil.
Yeah.
That's all that's in it.
Canola oil. Well, guess what? It's on the list.
Oh no.
Yep, yep. And
Oh gee, I use this all the time.
let me see if this. Okay, there you go. So the canola is, and that's grown.
90% of canola oil grown in this country is genetically modified.
Yeah, yeah. Or grown. It could be grown in Canada too.
Well, yeah, and Canada's just as bad. I mean, is it,
Canada is a big grower of canola. Yeah, yeah.
and it's
So
genetically modified.
a lot of it is genetically modified.
Well, we need labels on these things so
need-
we know.
Exactly. If you choose to avoid genetic engineered foods, and or if you want to know what's genetically engineered and not, organic, if it's designated the USDA organic label, the circular label, it's not allowed to have genetically engineered ingredients.
What does
in
that
it.
label look like? Do you have an example of it?
I do actually. Let's see. Oh, I think. Let me look in your cupboard. Oh, yeah. You've got one right here.
Oh, good.
Yeah. There it is.
The USDA
Yeah.
organic.
See how it's round and it says
Yeah.
USDA and it says organic on
Uh-huh.
it. So this is an official label, and that means that this product, not just individual ingredients, but this product contains organic.
It's a keeper.
It's a keeper.
All right.
Woo!
We'll eat tonight.
And there's something else on here that you might not have noticed. Well, first of all, why don't you read the ingredients in
Okay.
this one?
Okay.
Check the ingredients out.
Oh, I don't even need the magnifier. Organic brown rice flour.
Anything else?
That's all.
That's
all.
it. That's it.
I wonder how they did that.
Yeah. Guess what? It can be simple and clear. So, so see this little label down here.
Non-GMO project verified. Non-GMO project
.org.
Yeah, so this is a project that tests foods to see whether or not they
good.
actually contain genetically engineered ingredients. And if their testing shows they don't, then they get this label.
I had no idea there was such a project.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So that's pretty new, relatively new project, and
Good.
it's on quite a number of foods. You have to look for it.
And we can go on the internet and learn more about it.
And you can do that. And actually, they have a wonderful process where if you go onto their website, then you can put in a food, and then they will show what brands have been tested by them and which ones have shown to be
That's excellent.
get
Good.
their label.
Good.
Yeah.
Nor you, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs. Give us today our daily bread, unless it's used for gas instead. Nor you, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs.
Well, nothing in life is guaranteed. Do I think it could fail? Do I think it will fail? I don't think it will. There's always that possibility. We never know what kind of spending they're going to do, and if we're able to get the message out. I mean, one of the things that I do say is we have a better opportunity this time than we've ever had. And we are spreading the word high and low. And if it doesn't get voted in, we only have ourselves to look at in this one, because in the past, there have always been the mediators, the elected officials. Right now, it's about the people. So we can't blame the elected officials being lobbying. We can't blame Congress. We can't blame anybody. We can't blame the agencies if this doesn't pass. It's because enough of us, and a lot of us care, over 90% want foods labeled. We've got thousands of volunteers out there who've said they will volunteer. If they all volunteer, if they actually do the work that they say they want to do, then we will succeed. If they don't, I don't know. You know, but we have no one to blame but ourselves. You know, really, I love that part, because you know, on some respects, it's like almost like a blamey statement, but it's not. It's a very empowering statement. It puts the responsibility directly back on us, and it reminds us that we are the ones that are going to make the change. Nobody else is going to do it for us. And that was a very important lesson I've learned on the road too, that I kind of had to, you know, Center for Food Safety is out there working on this. They'll take care of it. Greenpeace will take care of it. Food Democracy Now! They'll all take care of it. The news is they are understaffed, underfunded, and have far too much to do. We, the people, if we want to see change, are going to have to get off our butts and do something besides talking about it. These days when I'm speaking, I'm touched by a certain thing, and that is that I find a lot of people who feel very sparked and very passionate about this issue. And so my message to them is, because I had to discover this, was that if you feel really strongly about something, and if it's calling to you, if you're angry about it, if you're upset about it, if you're depressed about it, it's probably a message from someplace inside of yourself informing you that it's your job to do something about it.
Give us today our daily bread, unless it's used for gas instead. Nor you, nor I, nor anyone knows what genes are in those GMOs.